And good morning, hello, good evening, good afternoon. We are live once again on David Boles Live, the live stream that you can see on Twitch. Username Boles Books. Also, live streaming on YouTube. YouTube Live. Username there is Boles Blues. Well, it's been an interesting week. We are in the middle of week 3 in this lovely stream, learning things, changing things, finding out what works, what doesn't work, what helps, what doesn't help. And it's an ongoing process, and I appreciate the feedback I've been getting online and from some good friends and associates about topics and things to discuss and things to share and to know and to be open to reconciliation. So we have several things we're going to talk about before we get into the meat of today's stream. And we're going to start with this idea of branding. And everything in our lives is a brand. We are a brand. The things that we look at, the things we purchase, the things we enjoy, they are brands as well. And branding, setting a function of an idea that serves you, is expensive if you're not doing it yourself. And I think it's always better to brand yourself than to let others brand you, because you're the one who cares. There are other people around you who don't care. They just want your money. So we just finished this week, a day or two ago, this latest round of voting in politics. And I don't want to get deep into politics when it comes to this stream, because half the country's on this side and half the country's on this side, and if you say something too negative about either side, you lose half of your viewership and your friends and your people. But there are universal ideas that can be discussed, that can be critical and supportive of both sides. And so we'll attempt to do a little bit of that today. We'll see how well it goes. And we'll start by discussing where... Oh, we lost our music. What happened? Oh no, it's coming back. It's very bizarre. Pretzel Rocks. Witch Hat by Sleepy Fish is the song that's now playing. So Nebraska a few years ago decided that they were no longer happy being known as the good life. They wanted to change their state's, I don't know if it's a motto, I'll call it branding for the purpose of this conversation. They didn't want to be known as the good life anymore, which, as long as I grew up there, 23 years of my life, it was the good life. So I guess they went out and paid this big PR company to come up with this genius new branding for the entire state of Nebraska, which is very deep red Republican. Some say not friendly to outsiders, but there are a lot of immigrants who do a lot of the hard work in the middle of the state. There are 2 pods of blue, we'll call it, liberal Democrat blue in the entire state, centered around Lincoln, Nebraska, the state capital, and Omaha. So you have 2 pods of blue, rest of the state is deep red. And some genius who was paid millions of dollars, probably, came up with the idea that the new slogan for the state of Nebraska should be Nebraska. It's not for everybody. Now, I don't understand that, because first of all, it's a negative, and in PR, you're not supposed to be a negative, unless you want something that's fleeting, just to get somebody's attention, negative attention, like they say, you know, a fart in the room gets attention. It's negative attention, but at least you get attention. Now, why Nebraska would want to choose a fart in the room as their new motto, their new slang, their new branding, we're not for everybody, I don't understand it. And I'm not sure that some of the Nebraska people who approve this understood it. That phrase, we're not for everybody, it's not for everybody, is a put down. They're not celebrating you, they're making fun of you. Now, why would a state want to promote something like that? We're not for everybody. So either we're weird and we don't want you, or you might come here and you're not going to like it because we're not for everybody. So does that mean that Nebraska is only for people who live there? Do they care about tourism? Do they care about a positive message? I don't understand it. And a lot of money was spent. And a lot of Nebraskans kind of say offhandedly now, we're not for everybody. Which I think is not necessarily funny. It's kind of self-defeating and really kind of awful. If you're trying to sell yourself, sell your state as a brand to outsiders. Now, as I said, when I was growing up, it was Nebraska, the good life. And some people thought that was too cheesy and too hokey. And maybe that's true, but it was also true that Nebraska was the good life. It was a statement of pride. It was something you could celebrate. When people came to visit at a Nebraska football game, they were very impressed by the friendly people. People who were living the good life. I don't know what was wrong with it. And the University of Nebraska-Lincoln had a jingle, a commercial jingle that they made that you heard all the time on the radio. And it was the University of Nebraska making the good life better for you. And I could sing it right now, but I don't want to get any kind of DMCA licensing violation, so I won't sing it. The University of Nebraska, making the good life better for you. Now that's a great branding. The good life, yeah, it's the good life, Nebraska, but the university makes the good life better. And not for everyone, not for these unknown tourists coming into the state, but for you. Making the good life better for you. It's wonderful, magnificent. But I guess all good things die someday. And Nebraska, for some reason, killed that great branding. So we've talked about how Nebraska kind of stepped in it. Now we're going to talk about, on a more national level, why things happen and how things get lost. Especially in light of this recent election. Virginia going Republican, New Jersey staying Democrat, defunding the police going down in flames. Now let's start with that, defunding the police. I don't know who came up with that idea. Terrible, terrible, terrible branding. Now the idea might be a good one, but the way it's presented is just terrible. Nobody wants to defund the police. We need the police. We need firefighters. We need first responders, EMTs. We need them. Nobody wants to not. When you say defund the police to regular people on the street, hearing it for the first time, or perhaps the third time, without studying it, thinks we're getting rid of the police department, and that's going to mean a rise in crime. And people who oppose you will use that against you in a PR campaign. Oh, they want to get rid of the police. They don't want us to be safe and protected. But the idea behind defund the police was a good one. That police officers deal with social issues that aren't really about crime. Somebody's cat is bothering them. Police go over there, check it out, stop a fight. I can give you an example here on the East Coast. There's a drugstore, has a lot of homeless people in and out, and several of them, let's say, are not mentally well. And you feel for them, but they are not really presentable in public because they take their clothes off or they're relieving themselves in public corners. It's a problem. And often the police get called in to deal with these people who won't leave or are yelling at customers. It's bad for business. So you have these great, big, strong, burly police officers with guns and weapons and flak jackets and billy clubs and flashlights, twice the size they would be in public than they are at home with all this stuff not on them. And they're standing there very patiently for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, trying to rationally speak to someone who is obviously not feeling well mentally. And they don't want to leave. They don't want to leave the store. They have the right to stand there and purchase things, even though they're causing a ruckus and pushing people and knocking things off the shelves. So the police can cut time and take them down and arrest them and take them away. But you can tell that the police officers really don't want to do that. They want to remove the person from the premises, escort them out the door, and help them maybe find somewhere to go if it's cold outside, or some place away from the middle of the commuters who are trying to get home from work. So should police officers be the first responders in that situation? I think probably not. Should the fire department? No. EMTs? Not if there's not an injury. No. So that's the situation we have now, that when anybody has any problem at all in their life, they call 911, they say, I need the police. And the police become social workers. And that is not their role. Their role is to try their best to protect and serve. And it is a difficult job. So when you say defund the police, it's a terrible phrase, but the intention is the police shouldn't have to be doing that kind of social work. So imagine if these people behind this defund the police instead had branded the idea, what I suggest, help the first responders. Now, that might mean taking away a little bit of money for law enforcement or something and putting it towards a social program so the police don't have to go there and spend that money and that time to go deal with people who are not feeling well in a drugstore and causing trouble. But that's not defunding the police. That's supporting the first responders so they don't have to go deal with that. So maybe we create a new first responders who deal with social and mental issues, because it's getting worse and worse out there, especially in the big cities. And people don't know who to call. So let them call 911 and let the 911 operators then funnel that complaint about the person in the drugstore to the appropriate people to go respond. And maybe it's part of the police force, but different intentions. They don't have guns or billy clubs or flashlights. And maybe they're dressed in regular clothes. So it's a branding problem. Defund the police is terrible, but the police need help. They need to have that burden of dealing with social issues off their plate so they can go deal with the bad people, which is what we want them to do. We don't want them dealing with rounding up the homeless and putting them back out on the street. It's not a good use of their time. So defund the police, help the first responders. The Help the First Responders Act. Now, who wouldn't want that? Now, that's a question of branding. Which side are you on? Are you on the side of helping the first responders? Are you on the side that you don't want to help the first responders? Now, the next hot button issue that we're going to deal with, and this is the last one really, is CRT, critical race theory. And this has been bent and bandied about very interestingly. What are you going to do? We have a history in America that deals with race and slavery, and people don't want to talk about it. People don't want their feelings hurt, even though it has really nothing to do with them or their direct history, but it's their general history. Well, sometimes things are difficult to discuss. And critical race theory is, again, not a good branding. It's not a good title. It's very negative. It puts people immediately on the defensive because you're talking about race. And the word critical can mean urgent, or it can mean I'm criticizing you because of your race. And that's my theory based on color, right? That's how you can decompose critical race theory and twist it into something that you want it to be. So what if we went a different way with branding and we discussed the idea of instead of critical race theory, we called it the history of how we need to get along with each other. Now that could mean a lot of things. It can mean race, it can mean politics, it can mean culture, it can mean state, it can mean gender, it can mean a lot of things that are all very important. And who's going to be against that? Oh, I don't want to get along with you. Oh, really? Well, that's kind of what the whole idea of living together on the same earth is about. It's been about war and conflict and hurting each other. But if we really want to survive together, we need to get along. That doesn't mean we have to agree on everything, but we can get along, we can respect each other, we can agree to disagree. The history of how we need to get along with each other. Try that instead of critical race theory, and maybe some change will happen. And all of these branding ideas are tied to this idea of wokeness, which is really another terrible idea. Because the thing you want to tell a woke person when you're on the other side is go back to sleep. Don't wake up. We don't want to hear what you have to say. It's too easy. It's a negative. Being woke is dividing. It serves no purpose other than virtue signaling. And it encourages cultural appropriation for a political end. And few people are really kind of interested in breaking all of this down. I mean, they need to, they want to inside to be a better person, because everyone wants to try to be a better person. They may go to church, they may contribute things, they may volunteer. They try to be a good person in the community. They're not out trying to cause trouble. But when you get in somebody's face, on either side, yelling, telling them you don't understand, you don't want to know, that becomes a problem in the long run, because it creates tension and conflict that doesn't necessarily have to be there. Now, if you want to be woke, a human being, okay. But if other people around you are not interested in that, that needs to be okay as well. And when it gets mandated by government or people or one culture against another culture, there's going to be trouble. We have to find a way to go from here to here, straight across, not going around, up and down, jagged, level playing field. And that takes reasonable and rationality on both sides. Okay, so that's our branding update for the day. I thank you for not completely bailing on me, because these are difficult topics that we try to discuss, even though we may not agree or we may not even understand what the other person's talking about. And that's okay too. Now we're going to take a moment, because today we had our lovely... Oh, we'll do this other one first, because this is the one that's up. Well, we'll see which one's up first. When we click on this, hi-ya! Okay, we're going to talk about the Human Being Podcast in just a second. But now we're going to talk about Discord. And I admit it, I'm an old person. I don't know what Discord is. I guess it's some kind of chat video conferencing thing that a lot of companies are also moving to provide technical support. Now, I've been trying to learn Discord, and it does cost money, I guess, if you really want to get the best out of Discord. I thought Slack was the thing that companies and businesses were using to communicate with people, but I guess that's an internal mechanism thing. They really don't want the public talking on their Slack server. So people are on Discord, and I'm not really sure why, but it's popular. So I'm going to show you what I've done so far. And if you go to bolesblogs.com and look in the sidebar, you'll see my Discord server. And you can click on that and join me on Discord. So you set up your own server, and you can join other servers. So as I was loading this up today so I could tell you about it, I see that I have one friend and one friend only. Although I'd like to have a lot of friends, but my one friend is Jana, my lovely wife. She's not with us, but she's always with us because she's Jana Marie. In the merch store, bolesbooks.org/merch. And she set up her account last night, and we became friends. And so I started up Discord this morning, and I saw, oh, there's Jana. And Discord said, hey, why don't you say hello to Jana with this blue guy, excuse me. And I didn't know it was a blue guy. It said, say hello, click here. So I clicked there. And here's this little blue guy waving. Okay, waving, hello. Waving at Jana, I guess, is what that means, right? And shockingly, I got a reply from Jana Marie where she said hello back. I really didn't even know she had this on her iPhone, but obviously she does, or something popped up and she said hello back. So I, of course, responded like I always do. Oh, I'm so excited. Is that really you? I thought it might have been a bot, but I think it was her. Wow, just testing Discord. Now, that's not Discord, that's our music. I don't know why it does that. It's not supposed to be speaking. Now, one thing you can do on this, I learned, is have it spoken to you. So we'll see how this, if this speaks, this message speaks.
Boles said, is that really you? Wow. I was just testing Discord. This chat server told me to say hello to you, and I clicked on the link and that little blue thing popped up. Wild.
Yeah. Now, I think that's really a terrible voice. I would not choose that voice to speak my messages, but I'm not the one who set it up.
Boles said, I will show this Discord conversation example in today's stream, so don't be shy about saying hello and all that, yeah?
Yeah, well, she didn't reply. I don't know. She was there for a second, and now she's gone.
Boles said, thumbs up.
So I decided to just keep talking to myself to see if I could have a conversation.
Boles said we can also do video via Discord. That might also be something to try for your live feeds. Not today, though.
Yeah. So someone suggested that instead of using Zoom on your stream, it's easier and better to use Discord for video. I don't know why. So here we go, Day of the Dead. It's a little image I was able to shove in there, another little image. And if you want to send images to Jana or me or whoever, you go down here, it sends it. So I guess this is the new thing. I guess it's the new thing. I don't know. But we're on Discord, so let me show you this. So this is Monstercat, one of our streamers. Streaming services that we use to get our music going here. So here we go with people chatting and people talking. And it's hard to read because I have this smaller because the font is very big. Let me see if I can make the font a little smaller. We'll lower the zoom level. We'll make this a little smaller font. Yeah. This is better. Okay. Okay. See if this is any better. Okay, this is better. So now you can see that this is what it looks like. People go on here and then get help, but not all of the technical support answers are provided. Now, it used to be you go to the website or you log in or you send an email and you get a response back and a ticket number so everything can be found later. And I've asked some questions here in some of these premium support areas, and nobody's answering me. So, I don't know. So that's Monstercat, where you go for help. And all these people you see on the right side, all these people are online. Oh, see, we got this little thing from Jana Marie. Let's click on it and see what she does. Oh, there she is. She said it's funny. She's back. You're back. We are live. Saying hello to you here in Discord. There she is. Will she respond? That's the question. Or will she wait an hour and 15 minutes again? It's the pressure of the moment and the eagerness of the day. Well, we're not going to wait for her, so we're going to go over here to Pretzel Rock's support. You can see here premium support on the left side. You ask questions. And sometimes you ask questions and you don't get an answer. Like this young man, this attractive young man. I'm a premium subscriber on the East Coast. New York City songs tend to clip in and out every couple of seconds. Monstercat screaming does not clip while playing streaming. Is there any way to resolve this? Thanks. No response. That was October 31st. Oh, Janet Marie's talking to us. Let's go see what Janet Marie has to say. Hello. Ooh. Well, then hello to you. I see you changed my picture again. Hello back. Changed your photo? Oh my. We never had it live here before. But you're right. It has changed a few places. Heh. Well, I guess this, instead of saying heh, you're supposed to send an emoji. So what would that be? Oh, we'll be funny like that. Boom. So as we wait for her to respond, we go back to Pretzel. So I'm sitting here waiting for this to be responded to, and I don't know how to get them to respond. Edit message, mark on red, copy message, link, speak message, delete message. Add a reaction. Maybe I should add a reaction. Okay, I'll add a reaction. See what that does. Okay. We'll see if that prompts that. How do you get their attention to answer your question in the premium support that you pay for? Now we go to Streamlabs, which is what we're streaming on. And you go here to get help and answers. Some of these threads are 50 messages long. So you click on the 50 message thing and it shows you the whole conversation. And it goes on and around and around and around forever. So I guess the idea is not to have private support anymore, but public support where people can then go look at you and see all the trouble you're having. And you can send 1,000 emojis. I don't know. I guess it's another sign of aging. Not really understanding what's going on around you. But still trying to figure it out and be a part of it. Chess.com. They're very strict. You have to verify yourself. You have to click on a certain icon to show that you're not a robot. I guess that means they have some kind of moderation problem because every time I go to visit them, I have to go through re-identifying myself for some reason. I don't really understand it. Why are both kings in check? Funniness. And now here we go. These are my servers. So welcome to David Boles. Hello world, chess bot. It's a chess playing bot that I befriended and befriended me back. It's really the only reliable friend I have on Discord. Saying hello to me. Wave and say hello to Jana. Hello, what's up? That was yesterday at 6:15 p.m. So I said sup. I guess that means what's up. That's in general. Then we also have a writing area. We have David Boles, which I think is supposed to be the main area, but I'm not sure about that. I really don't know how any of this works. I guess we can put that up there. And then put Boles books underneath it. I don't know what any of this is doing. But I do like feeling in control of something. Then there's a voice channel. So I guess you can come here, join my server, and say hello and have a real-time chat with me. Which I would not mind, if you're interested. I'm here. Jen is offline, and she has no role. So, that's Discord. If you're interested, go ahead and find us. We're here. Go to bolesblogs.com and click over there. That should show you how to sign up, at least. And now it's that lovely time of day where we need to take a brief blood pressure break. Back in just a moment. And we're back for break. Thank you for waiting. So I see our friend Dora sent us a little note that I missed because I was in the middle of ranting about Discord, where she said, good morning, thanks for looking into Discord. I had no idea what it was. Well, you and me. I still have no idea what it is, and I have it all set up. I got to figure it out. So there was one interesting thing what it seems is that you set up your own server, your own private space to talk on Discord. And you can have a community Discord, you can have a private Discord. It's up to you. Some Discords are 500 people on them, others have 2 or 3. Some have as many as more than 7,000 people, usually talking about video games. But the whole thing is follow the money. So you go up here and you click on Nitro, and now you get into it. Now you find out what this is really about. This is about bringing home the cash. So you can pay, I think it's $9 a month for the top. You can get backgrounds, you can get avatars, you can style your profile. That all seems really pointed at kids, but big adults and big companies use Discord too, all day. You can get special stickers access, more emoji power, whatever that means. Use your favorite emoji anywhere and make them animated, okay. Support your server. I think that means support your own server. Get 2 server boosts. 30% off extra boosts? I don't know what that means. I could click on learn more, but I'm not sure I want to. Rep your status. Bigger uploads. HD video. I didn't even know Discord did video. And you can have longer messages. And you can have more servers. Okay, so there you go. Nitro Classic. So I guess you can, if you don't know how this works, or if you need help, you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Boles, or on Twitter at David Boles. Send me a little message and I can send you an invite to my server that you can then use to go register for an account on Discord. And Discord has an app that works on your phone, and they have an app that works on your Mac, and I believe on Windows. They don't seem to like the web interface. They like their stuff in an app, either on your computer or, boom, on your phone. So that's Discord. Now, we'll have a little conversation about what's next. And that is this. Our latest Human Meme podcast is out today. And in the spirit of fun, I'll play you the first few seconds just so you can find out what life on a wire means. Welcome. This is David Boles, Human Meme. Today's topic, life on a wire. Life is a balancing act. We try to remain calm and steady as we try to stay in line and on the right line, standing on a thin wire. Yes, a thin wire, where the difference between life above and falling below is all dependent on the strength of our toes. And I'll stop that there for now. You can go to humanmeme.com and listen right now, or you can subscribe to the Human Meme Podcast using your favorite podcast application. We're everywhere and anywhere. David Boles, Human Meme. Find it. I hope you will enjoy it. And later today, if we have time, we will be rewriting this week's Human Meme Podcast script together, because it is kind of fun to do, to work with you, to share the process of creation, where you start something and there's nothing there, and then half an hour later it's all done and something is there. It's really sort of magnificent in many ways. So earlier we talked about growing up in Nebraska, branding, the good life, Nebraska not for everyone, Nebraska for me, not for you. And so when I was about 23 years old, I decided to get up and leave and go somewhere else. And I met this wonderful woman named Jana Marie, and we decided to escape together to the East Coast. And the first place we landed was Washington, D.C. It's a lovely town. It's the perfect first town from going from a small Midwestern community, Council Bluffs, Iowa, for her, for me, Lincoln, Nebraska, into what is, I guess, kind of the center of power in the United States of America, Washington, D.C., but it is a small town. It's a community of different states and regions, not even its own state. It's really its own nothing, because Congress will not allow statehood for D.C. But D.C. is located below the Mason-Dixon line. And many people don't realize that. So, ironically, Washington, D.C. is considered a southern state, if you will. It's in the south. And it's also in the center of a bowl. So Washington, D.C. is here, and the rest of the states are surrounding it like this. So all the humidity, all the heat goes into Washington, D.C. So you never really want to be in D.C. in the summertime, because it's very hot and very humid. Well, we moved to Washington, D.C. about June, July, August. We were there in the middle of the heat. No important people were there. People who do hiring, they're all out of town. People who are left are just the regular old citizens of Washington, D.C. So in some ways you have the neighborhoods to yourself, where you can just kind of walk around and see people and meet people and say hello. But if you go to the monuments, the White House, Washington Monument, Lincoln Memorial, a lot of tourists. So it's one end in the communities, there's nobody there but your homies, and then everywhere else it's public, packed. But no decision makers are really around. So if you're looking for a job, it's a little difficult. So I was a little bit lucky. I went to Washington, D.C. I was used to doing a lot of theater by myself. Meaning that if you wanted to do theater in Lincoln, Nebraska, it often fell to you to pay for it, to find the performers, to direct it, to design the sets, do the lights. You did everything yourself just because it was easier that way, because nobody's really getting paid to do any theater in the Midwest. A lot of community theater, a lot of volunteering, not a lot of money. All the money's going out of your pocket because you want to produce a play that you wrote or directed. So you have that with you, that ability to do every single job in the theater, including lighting and audio and set design and painting and costume designing, all of it. Writing characters, directing the plays, staging the plays, working with the actors, setting up rehearsal schedules. You do it all. It's a wonderful training. Dora, I just saw your note about your son learning about Discord. You're learning about Discord because your son is on it. He's not sure he wants you to know. Oh, I bet he would love to see you on Discord. You can surprise him. Join his server. Say hello. But it's interesting. A lot of people use Discord. It's very popular. I've heard about it for several years. I never went into it because I always thought if someone wanted to talk to me, they talked to me on Slack. They would SMS me on my phone. I have the Google Voice for SMSing. And look what I've been missing out on. All those emojis and server upgrades. And I find it kind of hard to read. It just scrolls by so quickly. And in many of these Twitch streams that you watch on TV with very active chat screens, which I love, and one day we're going to get that here, I don't know how people read it. It just goes by so quickly. Now, I know you can, once you reach a certain level on, let's say, Twitch, you can make people moderators and make people VIPs. So their messages are slowed down or highlighted. I don't know because I've never seen it because I'm not able to set that up. But as I understand it, that's how these hosts can keep up with not missing important things, because you can give certain people certain privileges that make them stand out. So we're hoping that will happen one day. Very excited about it. So we come to Washington, D.C., ready to go, plays in hand. I had like 5-10 plays that I had written. And the first thing you learn rather quickly, and this is especially true in New York, but in Washington, D.C. is where I got my first taste of it, is whatever you say you are is what you are, and that's it. You're a playwright, you write the play. You don't direct the play, you do not speak to the actors, you don't design the set, unless you're volunteering. But you don't have a say in these things because it's all departmentalized and compartmentalized. You don't go outside your boundary. On a Broadway stage, if an actor on stage turns on a light, the actor's not turning on the light. The lighting technician is turning on the light. The actor's just pretending to turn on the light. And if somehow an actor turns on a light bulb on a stage, then the union complains and says that actor took away a job from one of our people, one of our union people. It's kind of a big mess. It's all sticky. But you have to get used to it. If you're going from a small town to a big town, people protect their turf, and people protect what they want to do, and they don't want you doing things because that's how they get paid. Okay. But I was lucky that I did some work in Washington, D.C., none of my original work. When you start all over again, you work for other people and volunteer, and so I did some work at Ford's Theater. I was paid for it. Did some work at Arena Stage and was paid for it, very luckily. And did a little stint at the Kennedy Center, which was volunteer, but I got to do some announcing and meet some wonderful people, so that was worth it. So we were in D.C. for about a year before we decided to pick up everything and move to New York City. And Janet was going to go to Lehman College, and then after that NYU to get her master's degree. I was going to accept a presidential scholarship from Columbia University. And the man who became my mentor and good friend, Howard Stein. And it was a scary, terrifying time. So we were in D.C. for about a year, 8 months maybe, and then it was time to move. And we moved, and again, nobody with any power is in New York City in the middle of the summer. Especially not in Manhattan. It's very, very hot, very sticky. I think we had a heat stroke a couple of times. We were on an upper-level rental, sublet for 2 months with another Columbia couple. Top floor, no air conditioning. In the middle of the summer. We spent a lot of time in the, not the hot tub, the bathtub, with ice and cold water. There was really no way to ever get cool. There were a couple of fans, but the fans just blow around hot, humid air. We were really very stupid. And we understand why those people were so happy to see us, because they didn't have to pay rent for 3 months. We paid their rent for 3 months, and they got out of town. But at least we were there. And so you'd go to the library, you'd go to Columbia, kind of look around. In those days, late 80s, you could walk around. Go into a building. No one checked your ID. No one was worried really about terrorism or any of the other things. And so one of the first experiences I had at Columbia University was during the first week or so of class. It was September. I wrote this down, September 1988. A long time ago. And we were invited to go to a symposium that they were having that was being televised on cable television, I think. And these were working theater professionals. And you could go there and ask questions and watch them have a conversation. Now, usually I'm not in favor of that kind of thing because in my experience, when, writers groups or artists get together to talk about their art, I just think they should be doing their art when they get together and talk about process. And, it just seems like there are better things we could do with your time than sitting there and setting this up. But I did have an interesting experience that day that I'm about to share with you right now. I decided to get in line and ask a question in the panel because I had been in Washington, D.C. for a year trying to get a play of mine produced or done, and I just wanted a space where I could do something and find some actors somewhere and put on a show, and it was really impossible to do. No one really wanted to help. And I didn't have any money. Every cent I had, I spent in moving expenses. And I was bothered by this departmentalization, this regimentation of talent and ability. Well, you're a director. You don't touch the play. You're a playwright. Playwrights don't direct their own plays, which I absolutely disagree with because in the early years, hundreds of years ago, playwrights did direct their own plays. That's how they got produced. But now today it's verboten. Oh, you can't do that. No. That's the director's job. And then the director, because the director is directing an original play, wants a cut of the author's share. Well, I'm also authoring the play, so I want some of your money. And the strong writers don't give in to that. And the really good directors know that they can't push that because they're not an author of the play. They think they are, but they're not. Choreographers try the same thing. I'm choreographing the debut of this Broadway musical. Therefore, I'm an author, and I want a cut of the author's share. When I was coming up, I think the author's share was 6 points, 6%. And if it was a musical, you got 2%. So you were the writer, there was a lyricist, and there was a composer. Everybody got 2%. And they would fight over 2%. Who got more 2%? And they fight over billing. And it's never about the play. It's only about the process and about the fame and about the money. So I was new in New York City. You'll see in this video I'm going to show you, I'm wearing a George Washington University sweatshirt that a friend of mine gave me. I did not yet have a Columbia University sweatshirt, so I thought it was a little weird that my very first Columbia outing, I was wearing a Washington, D.C. sweatshirt. And the question I had was an earnest one, and it's a question that I still have today. And that is, what do you do as a playwright when you're working with a director, and sometimes you're forced to work with a director? The director's assigned to you, either in school or on a production. Oh, this is a director. He has experience. You don't have any experience. So his experience is going to help us raise money. So he runs you, you don't run him. Or her. Either side hurt. And so I was generally concerned. Well, what does this mean? How does this process work in New York City? And one of the panel members on stage that day was Austin Pendleton. And Austin is a very, very interesting, curious, some might say strange, actor-director. And he very passionately and vehemently replied to me. And I'm going to share that little slice with you now. It's about 2 minutes. It's not very long. So I guess I'll keep our music up because it's always nice to have a little something. And here we go with my conversation. Actually, I am going to turn off the music just for a bit because I'm just not sure what the audio sounds like in this file. Now, this is 1988, okay? I have to just warn you, set expectation. 1988, there was no such thing as HD television way back then that was common. It was there, but it was like in the Sony Experience store. So this is regular standard television. When you watched TV in 1988, this is what the screen looked like. And you were wondering at it, how possible could this beautiful screen be right here? And you'll see now with your eye in 2021 that it's really ugly. The screen and the person. So here we go. It should play just fine. And I will be right back and we'll put the finishing touches on this conversation about opportunity and collaboration in the theater and in the real world.
Come on.
My name is David Boles. I'm from the Hammerstein Center at Columbia. And my question is about collaboration and what Michael said about if someone has an idea, just say no about your script. I'm curious if it's really that easy, and if a playwright says to one of the directors, absolutely not, if the directors take that for an answer, or take no for an answer, or if there is a way to solve that problem in collaboration. It seems that the people here on the panel get along awfully well, but I'm not sure if that's always the case. Can you maybe give us some clues for young playwrights who may run into a director and who doesn't actually agree with your play?
I'll tell you what I would advise you to do.
Run, if that happens. If you say no to a director about a request the director makes, however honestly intentioned that request may be on the part of the director, and you say, no, that is absolutely not what I want to express here, and that's not what the play is about or what the play is for, and the director still either just circumvents you or it continues to exert intolerable pressure, and you get rid of the director, or run, take the play and go.
But
because there are too many
Even
plays.
as a beginning playwright?
That's right. It's
Yes.
the first play.
No,
And
I
you're
mean
very
it,
anxious
because,
to have
particularly
it.
if it's a first play, because then that'll be the first time you've ever been seen, and they'll have a total misrepresentation of you. Go and get the play on somewhere else, or go. Don't let that be done to you. I mean, it's very seductive, but don't let it be done.
Also, the most extreme arrogance is going to be asserted on a beginning playwright. And you
Yes.
have to reassert the most extreme arrogance back.
Exactly.
Also, we must,
Yeah.
Isabel, if I may just add something to that, there's also there's a new movement, for better or for worse, afoot, that does create situations where plays are workshopped, where the playwright goes in expecting to have the play dramaturged. At the O'Neill is one place. That's the first place I ever experienced it. And where the playwright is seeking collaboration. I'm working now with the playwright Doris Paisley on a new play called Tears of Rage, which began in Philadelphia this summer in a 2-week workshop, and she's now allowed us to do it at Rutgers. And she's flown in and worked with us there, and she has changed the script each time, not at my insistence, but from what she has seen out of the work and input that she's got from me about things that I thought did and didn't work. But she certainly was free to say no. I wasn't demanding them. They were merely suggestions.
All right. Now that brought back a lot of memories. Very interesting conversation. And at that time in 1988, the Dramaturg was making a big splash in the American theater. I don't understand why then, and I don't understand why now. The Dramaturg, and we had dramaturgs in the department that I was in at Columbia, is some sort of third eye, I guess, who reads the play and then gives critical feedback to the playwright. Now, the playwright is not really allowed to criticize or even really disagree with the dramaturg, and I always thought that symbiotic relationship of what was being read, seen, and staged was a conversation that was had between a director and a playwright. But there was this idea of putting a third person in the mix, I guess to offer another set of eyes and ears and emotions, called the Dramaturg. And it's very popular. I don't know if it still is. But it's also concerning as a playwright because you have this other person who may not like you or your play, or may like you and love your play and not want to criticize it, or criticize it too much. It's a very strange phenomenon that you find in the theater, and the theater tends to be very progressive, very woke, makes a lot of conversations and theories and presentations that they test just to see how things will work out. But I really do appreciate Austin Pendleton's advice that if you're not agreeing with your director, whoever that director might be, you as the playwright have to stand up and say something needs to change. And sometimes that means your play does not get done. Sometimes that means you get a different director. But you can't sit there with this new play that you've written and no one else has seen and have someone else, be it a dramaturg or a director, say, we're doing it this way because you don't understand your own play. And I've had directors actually tell me that. You don't really know what your play is about. I just wrote it, I think I know. No, you don't know. It's about something much bigger than that. So it's a danger. So the way you avoid that is finding collaborators that you agree with and that see your vision, but can also step out and challenge different ideas and present new ideas. But oftentimes, especially in academia, when you're putting on shows and plays, you don't get to choose who your collaborators are. Sometimes they're just assigned to you. And then, as the challenge goes, you have to find a way to make it work. And I had that problem myself as an instructor teaching theater in the university, and I don't want to say what school, but major East Coast schools. And you'd break them into groups, and you'd say, we're doing this play, and after class you'd get students coming up saying, I can't work with this person, it's impossible. Or I'm doing all the work, and this person's doing none of the work. And that's a wonderful teaching opportunity. Just like I had with Austin Pendleton teaching me, so I could teach my students, look, I understand how you feel. This is a theater class in an engineering school. And what you're going through right now is something that's going to test you and affect you in the real world, in your real life. So if you can find a way to get along with this person who isn't listening to you or respecting you and speaks over you and discounts everything you do, even though you are the one doing all the work, if you can find a way around that, to beat that and find your own success, because the people around you in your group and me, we know exactly what you're doing. Now, you're not feeling it from that person who's picking on you, but the rest of us know who you are, and we know who that other person is. So you can't let that other person define you or control your feelings or take away your power. You just have to keep going, get through it, and make sure it gets done. But I'm not happy. I want to be respected by this other person. And I said, of course, everybody wants that. And very, very few people are actually able to get it every moment of their lives. And sometimes you have to suffer knowing you are right, and you suffer knowing that what you know is more than what they know. Because time is on your side. And maybe not in the next moment or the next day, but maybe in 10 years. When that person who doesn't believe you reflects back on a moment you shared in this class, saying, oh no, that's what I did wrong today. And if I had done it right back then in class with this wonderful person who I thought was doing a terrible job, who was actually doing a wonderful job, if I had only learned that lesson back then, I wouldn't have made that big mistake now. So when you're talented and smart, and other people around you and above you are not talented and not smart, you have to keep your head down, but keep pushing forward. As Howard Stein used to always love to say to me, and to anyone who would listen, talent recognizes talent. And you're going to meet people who are not very talented, but who have power and control over you. And so you just sit there and you wonder, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? How do I get around this person who's blocking me? Well, you keep doing the best you can. I'm reminded of a story I was told about the Yale School of Drama. And it was a design class. And Ming Cho Lee was teaching the class. And it was set design. And every student would make a little diorama of a set as the final project. And Ming Cho Lee was with Howard and showing him all of these wonderful designs. And they came upon one. And Ming Cho Lee said of this student, Santa Laquasto, now that is competition. Now, I don't think you could pay a higher compliment to a student than say, your competition. I'm a major Broadway scene designer, Ming Cho Lee. You are Sandra Laquasto, a student at the Yale School of Drama, and you, in school, are competition for me. And that takes a lot of guts. For a mentor, for a teacher to say to a student, you are competition, that you have the opportunity to better me. So sometimes when you're in a position of power, it's okay to say to somebody, you're going to do really well. You're going to go above me and around me, and I'm going to enjoy every minute of it. Because I got to know you while you were here, while you were competition. And now, my dear friend, we're going to take a little break. Then we're going to come back and talk about gravity and weight and bones and other lovely fun things like that. I will see you in a moment. And we are back. Back from our little break. Trying to figure out why this looks a little strange. Everything looks strange. Oh, that is strange. I don't know how that happened. Little off. I think we're back now. Doing a little bit better. I changed the music because I think we're getting a lot of repeats for some reason. I don't know why. All right. So we have been talking this week a bit about golfer's elbow, tennis elbow, wrist strength, hand grip, blood pressure. And so we're going to kind of finish out this little conversation about movement and weight with some demonstrations here from the chair. Originally, I planned to do it live from our home gym, but I can't quite figure out how to get from there in the stream. Do I pre-record it? Do I live stream it through another video? Not exactly sure how that would work. But it's something I am working on, and I will figure it out. So, yesterday, our good friend Dora sent me a little reply in Twitter. I'm going to show it to you right now. And this is it. This is my promo from yesterday's stream using the Boles. And Dora replied, "The videotape is strong. Thank you for the support. She'll follow when time allows. On another note, I keep meaning to buy myself some weights, but never do. To be honest, I do plenty of weightlifting at home, and I do have some bands, but it's not the same. I need to be consistent with my exercises." Sounds good. Yes, weights can help a lot. I'll discuss this issue. Inspired by you on the live stream tomorrow. Well, it's tomorrow. And this is our live stream. So I'm just going to review a couple of things that I do to keep things moving and working when it comes to lifting weights and working out and putting weight on the body. So this is an extension of our conversation about the hands that now includes more of the body. And so we'll start with rubber things. Let me get them. They're right here. And how all these things compare with each other. So the most simple thing you've probably seen are stretch bands. They're very thin. They look like this. We'll go to the big screen so we can have a little more room here. Okay, very stretchy. Different colors mean different strengths. Lots of different brands out there. And you pull, and it creates tension. Does it build muscle? I don't think it does. But it does give your arms and your muscles a good stretch. Okay. This is a very lightweight one. Now, what I usually use these for are like doing push-ups. And I put my hands through it like this. I'm doing my push-up. Yeah. Creates tension on my shoulders. And sometimes you go like this and do a push-up. Go like this and do a push-up. Go like this, do a push-up. Go like this, do a push-up. Keep one hand in place and move the other hand around like a clock. Works really well. And the thicker you go, this is the heaviest. You can see these little dots tell you how strong it is. So this is a 3-dot out of 5 for how hard it is to pull. This is a full 5-dotter. Yeah, that's gonna hurt. Not necessarily. But as you're stretching, pulling, getting your muscles ready, is a big challenge. And if you can hold it, that's where you really get the power, when you hold it for a while. And remember, these are rubber, so they stretch. They can break like a rubber band. They're big rubber bands. And eventually they will wear out and you'll have to replace them, but they happen to be very inexpensive. Then you have these kind of rubber bands. And they're very thick, heavy, and you can use them around your back, like this. Push like this. Creates tension. Or a lot of people use these like you have a metal bar that you do a pull-up on, And you can wrap this around there, and then you, on the heavier gauge versions, you stand here with your foot. And then this helps measure out your body weight so you can do a chin up without actually having to use all of your power. You can also keep these together and then put your foot here. And then you pull this way. So you're bending your foot back and you're pulling with your muscles this way. These are all good for toning, not necessarily for building muscle. Then you have this kind of rubber. Rubber tube. All kinds of different grades of rubber in these products. Some are meant to be used in the gym by a million people, and some are meant just for home use, and they're going to break after a while. So quality matters. These have a lot of chalk dust on them from the home gym. I have these set up to be pulled. So you stand here, both feet. Stand here, both feet, yeah. And then you pull up using these. Pull. Tension, right? I'll hold it with my feet. And then you have tension. Then you pull up. Pull. Hold it. And you can twist your hands the other way. Get red-faced. And if you're going to get really fancy, you can cross them. I don't know if you're able to see the cross, but if you cross them, yeah, they're crossed out. So you cross it like this. So instead of pulling straight up, you cross them like that, and you pull that way. That feels like it doubles the strength that you need to make it pull. Sometimes you just pull like this. Easier than the rubber bands. I find the tubes to be a little stronger. I prefer the tubes over all of them, because they really do help build tension and build strength in what you're trying to do as you try to beat Mother Time and Mother Nature. Good for archery. So those are some ways where you can tone. And you can build some stamina. It's not really great for cardio, unless you do it a lot, but not really, because the bands can move and slip and hurt yourself. So I recommend weights. Now there are barbells that you see, traditional barbells, and then there are dumbbells like this. And this is a small one. This is an 8-pounder. And I have bigger, I have a 50-pound out there that I'll show you if we ever go live from the living room. The home gym. And I'm showing you this small because it fits in the screen and the camera, and there's no pain, but a lot of gain. So you have a dumbbell. And then, as you may know, if you've ever been to Boles Bells, I have a kettlebell workout website. And I need to add some video content to that. I am going to because of this live stream. We're going to have a lot of fun with that. So this is my tiniest, smallest kettlebell. My dumbbell. Okay. Take off my ring because I'm scratching it. Okay. This is my tiniest kettlebell. Okay. from Rep Fitness. Good company. 6 kilograms translates to 13 pounds in American language. All right. Now this is not very heavy. I have 80-pound kettlebells here that I will show you one day in the future. But I'm bringing you this one now so I can show you how this works. Now this is a regular grip. You can also make it a goblet grip like this. Okay? Yeah. Up and down. And it's usually 1 kettlebell per hand, so usually you have 2 of these. And I do have 2 of these, but I only have 1 right now because it's very heavy. And the proper position for a kettlebell, and I have to be careful because I have my watch on this hand, is this. Keep your wrist straight. Yes, my lovely Dora. The tubes are stronger. I love the tubes. And I'm glad you have a set. The tubes, I think, last longer, and they don't seem to hurt your hand as much if you're just pulling on the tube. When you're pulling on the thin rubber, like this, it tends to cut into your finger a little bit. The tubes don't cut into your hands, especially if you have the triangular grabbers, like this. These don't hurt your hands. But even if you're pulling on this with your hand, it's not going to hurt. Pulling hard, like this, on your hand, it hurts. So a proper kettlebell positioning is this on the back of your wrist, with your wrist straight, like this. Hold my sleeve. With your wrist straight, and not broken this way, or broken this way. But this way is very, you probably would not be able to hold a kettlebell in this position. So straight is the way to do it, like a punch. I can't wait to show you this routine live instead of this way. So here we go. This is my kettlebell hand position. Okay, there it is. Straight. Not this way, that hurts. And definitely not this way. Don't break your wrist. That's a broken wrist. It's not a straight wrist. And then you can always open your hand like this and re-grab it. And it does help if it's heavy and hard to move. You grab this as hard as you can and you punch. So that's a press. I'll show you a clean and a press and a swing and a snatch, which are very hard to do, but the number one way to exercise with a kettlebell is the snatch. It's very challenging. It's a great cardio workout. But the most important thing that I want you to realize when you're trying to build weight and muscle and stamina, especially as we become older, is the idea of weight. This you can hold in your hand. It has no weight to it. Gravity is not involved with this. Our bones, our bodies need gravity. When astronauts go into outer space, a lot of them come back with eye problems because there's no gravity, and the eye needs gravity to keep its shape. So they come back down to Earth, and they have eye problems for the rest of their lives. They don't talk about it much because it's not romantic. But if you look it up, you'll see. And they don't know how to put gravity in your eye when you're in outer space. And the longer you stay, a year or more, the more eye problems you're going to have. So be wary of space travel. This, very light, not even a pound. Now the pull strength on this, I would say, is probably 40 pounds. It takes 40 pounds of strength to pull it. But there's resistance, but there's not gravity. You don't have to create any kind of muscle or force or power to do this. You're just raising your hand. This has no pushback on you. Same thing with this. This is really used to balance out your weight when you're trying to do a pull-up. Or if you have it around your shoulders and you're exercising like this. You're pulling, but there's no gravity involved. It's very lightweight. Not even a pound. Not even a pound. But this, just in its normal state of being, is 8 pounds. And it has weight. And it's hurting me. It's not hurting me. But it's challenging me. Gravity is pushing this heavy thing onto my hand. And for me just to hold my hand like this, to steady it here for you, takes concentration and balance. And tension. I'm creating tension. But it's putting pressure on my arm, on my bones. We're not in outer space. This is very earthly. And it's gravity against this weight, forcing my hand to hold it up, that is building muscle and force and power. For me to push this up is me fighting gravity 8 pounds at a time. That makes a big difference in the style and substance of your workout. Doing this 10 times is more effective, I argue, than using a band to this 10 times. It creates pressure and tension, but it doesn't create a weight that you have to balance in your hand. If I open my hand like this and moved it around, it would fall out and on the floor and break things, hurt my toe. This, if I hold this in my hand, move around, I don't have to control it. I don't have to be aware of it, really. It's just there. This is different. This you have to concentrate on. This can hurt you. All right? And when you put it in the form of a kettlebell, it's in a very interesting form factor that is not really friendly to carry around in any way. It's convenient like this. You want to carry it by your side. But when you flip it over to do a goblet squat or push it above your head, or to warm up with halos like this, it's heavy. And if you let it go, it's going to drop on your foot, and I have done that. And it's going to hurt. Because you have to be in control of it. So you are always being tested by gravity and by weight when you're using a weight that puts pressure on your bones and builds your muscle. And then you go, so I do this every day 5 times this way, 5 times this way, and then I do a deep squat. And squatting is really underrated. And I did not know how to properly squat with a kettlebell or without a kettlebell until I started working out with kettlebells. And a squat is you down. Asians are very good at this as part of their culture. Asian countries, not people, but people live in Asian countries. All the way down with both of your feet flat on the ground. Now, most people think they can squat, and they squat, they go all the way down, right? And they can hold themselves up, but they're on their tippy toes. To go down into a proper squat, you have to put your body between your legs and move forward a little bit, so your elbows are in front of your knees in the squatting position. That took me a while to figure out and to get right, and now it's the best stretch exercise workout that I have, is practicing my squats. And people in those countries where they squat a lot, they eat that way. When they're waiting for the bus, they sit that way. It's perfectly natural. It feels very, very good. But many Americans who are used to sitting all day cannot do a proper squat. So when we're able to do these live or on tape, on video demonstrations for you, squatting is going to be really important. And you have to have the right shoe. If you don't have a flat shoe, you're not going to be able to squat very well, because most shoes tilt you forward because they want you to be walking or running. So take your shoes off, find a flat surface, not really a carpet or any kind of mat, although I have a lot of foam mats around here that I will also show you. It's easier to do it on a flat surface, a flat floor, flat feet, and go all the way down. And just do a little bit every day. It's going to take you a while if you're not used to doing it. So this is my kettlebell routine, and there's also a new one that I have added that I really like a lot that I'm going to show you right now. And that's why I have this super lightweight, because when I'm doing my regular presses, I can do, let's say, 40 pounds easily per arm. But this exercise I'm going to show you, which does use a kettlebell, which is very challenging, you have to really go to a low weight. And this is 13 pounds. They have smaller kettlebells than this, so don't think you have to go heavy to get a good mileage out of a kettlebell. And this is the normal hand position for a kettlebell, yeah? So now I propose this different hand position that will challenge your arm and your body in a very different way. You go from the front, and you grasp it this way. And I can't see it very well, so I'll lean. Okay. And you're going this. So the weight is not behind your wrist. It's now in front of your wrist. And it's very easy in this position to have a straight and unbroken wrist. Right? Very, very difficult, especially if you're used to doing the other kettlebell routines. And this is how it looks. This is the difference in the hand position. Okay, this is standard kettlebell press, right? Easy this way. Then you get all dramatic. And you can use two hands, flip it around. You don't have to do it by one hand. I usually use chalk on my hands, which is why this is all chalk. And then you push it like this. Very hard. I would say it's twice as hard to do a kettlebell press with the weight in front of your wrist instead of behind your wrist. So if you don't know where to start with building some muscle or getting in shape or working on some cardio, my advice to you is to think heavy. And don't be afraid of heavy. When people start working with kettlebells, they get a little concerned that, oh, this is going to be too heavy for me. And it won't be too heavy. It will be a good challenge. So make sure you have a light kettlebell and a heavier kettlebell. But don't feel you have to go really heavy in order to be successful, because you do not. It's all a matter of taste and want and desire. And I think that having something heavy that you have to push back on in order to move it out of the way, and even when you push back on it, it's still pushing back because it's 16 pounds of weight that you have to manage. And you want to try to go out on the side a little bit. You can use a kettlebell in many different ways. And if you have a kettlebell, you don't necessarily need a dumbbell. Because this is going to challenge you no matter what you do. Just moving it around on your hand like this, right? Just a little wrist twitch. Twist. Oops. Makes all the difference in the world, because you're maintaining the position. You're not resting your elbow on anything. You're lifting it up, and you're maintaining control. And that's what I love about kettlebells, is you do not have to do them quickly. In fact, I think the best kettlebell routines are done very slowly, almost in slow motion and deliberately, as you try to maintain control of that weight. It can be extremely challenging. Now we're going to take one final short break. We'll come back, talk about a couple of things, and see if I have any questions, and I'll be back in just a moment. Thank you, Dora. More in a moment. back. Well, it's been a wonderful stream today. So many interesting things happened. Dora, I'm so glad you're here. It would be so lonely without you. And I hope you'll talk to your son about Discord, because maybe he'll explain it better than I did. Because I don't know. I have 3 or 4 chat places, and I don't know what any of them do. All I know, I thought I was saying hello to Jana Marie, and she said hello back, and I got scared. She was there. But Discord should be a lot of fun, and I am going to upgrade my server to Nitro or Boosted, or I don't know what it means. I don't know what it does. It's $10 a month. I have to find out. That is in the plans. But once I get it figured out first, I want to make sure I'm understanding what I'm exactly upgrading myself to do. And then I guess you can join servers, and if you have boosts, you can help boost the server to get more functions or features or emojis or something. I don't know. But it sounds like fun. And it's the new hot thing. All the kids are doing it. Now, if you're looking for some kind of weight to begin your training, and weight, cardio, great ways to burn fat, create endurance, lower your A1C, is using weight to move your body. Now, if you don't have any weights, if you have a gallon of milk, if you have a gallon of water, a gallon of distilled water, which I just happen to have, that I got on break, delivered by Whole Foods, distilled water, this 1 pound thing of water, you wouldn't know, if you didn't know, is 8.3 pounds. Okay? That's pretty good. That 8.3 pounds. This is just as heavy as this. This is 8 pounds. This is heavier. This is 8.34 pounds. And what I like about this is that it is unwieldy. It's not an easy thing to move. You would have to hold it with both hands to move it up and down. If you wanted to press like this, okay. It puts a little pressure on your wrist that you probably don't want, so I would hold it like this, goblet style, and move it up and down. You could move it back and forth. All kinds of different things. 8.3 pounds, right there in your pantry, in your refrigerator. If somebody drank half, it's 4 pounds. Yes, Dora, I'm glad you brought that up, because you use what's around the house. That's exactly right. A can of soup is just as good as those little Bosu balls I was showing you. That's the same kind of thing. You can move it this way, you can move it this way. There's no reason not to find what you have and use it to carry around with you and help your day exercise. And cleaning the house is really good exercise. If you really get down on your hands and knees and scrub the floor, scrub the toilet, scrub the bathtub really hard, you're going to have a great workout. It will put you down. And more men need to realize that. In my experience, the women are getting the great home exercises while the men say, I'll mow the lawn once every 2 weeks, while the females are inside doing all the heavy, hard cardio work. Well, make it fun. Hey, why don't you come take this can of soup and lift it a few times and maybe cook while you're at it? And hey, why don't you build up some stamina and get your cardio going by taking this scrubber and scrubbing out the rings around the bathtub? Okay, I will. If it'll make me stronger, I'll do it. Why not, right? So today we discussed branding and how unsuccessful branding is actually more damaging than the right kind of branding. And if you can brand your opponent or the person on the other side of you, that can be very effective in business, in politics, in life, in friendship, even online. The first thing you learn online about dealing with people who are arguing with you is you need to get the response up first. Because if they respond to you first, then they can either block you or cut you off. That's my favorite Twitter game, that I learned very early on. When people are mad at you or disagree with you and they say, I'm blocking you. Okay. Now you have to block them back really fast if you want it to be over. Because if you're the bigger person and I'm blocking you, you can still respond to what they say. And then they'll come back because they don't like what you responded, but they can't respond to you if they blocked you. So they will unblock you so they can respond again and say, I'm unblocked. I've unblocked you so I can reply to this. And then they type their response. And then, now I'm blocking you again, so don't reply because I can't see what you say. Then they turn off. Then you reply. And it goes back and forth. Then blocking you, blocking you. Now, I tend to block people who are really super negative or who curse a lot. I don't like any of those in my life. I don't need that in my life. There are other people who say anything goes. Just say what you want to say. And unfortunately, in politics, especially in progressive politics, anything goes. We're going to fight, we're going to argue, we're going to tear each other apart because that's part of what we're doing. And that might be fun and entertaining and great for the television, but getting stuff done for people who are in desperate need of help, not really a great way to move community forward. We talked about opportunity, collaboration, and we talked about dramaturgs very briefly, and I just want to put a final point on that this insertion of the dramaturg into the creative process has always been confounding to me in that, in my experience and in my observations, the dramaturg is placed in a position of power and importance that is above the playwright. Usually, it should be a triangle, director, playwright, dramaturg, whatever. All equal sides. In my experience, the dramaturg is usually given a lot of power. And usually the power is not one of great persuasion or love of the play, because then they don't have a job to do. Just like the editor with the blue pencil in the old days. Well, you're an editor, you've been given a blue pencil, and if you don't use that blue pencil, you're not doing your job. Well, the same is true for the dramaturg. If the dramaturg isn't being somewhat critical of a play in the idea of advancing it, then the dramaturg's not doing the job. Because if you're too supportive, how does that help the playwright? And the director often tends to prefer sometimes to deal with the dramaturg rather than the playwright. The director speaks to the dramaturg speaks to the playwright, and the playwright's just kind of left there. The playwright used to have great power and great strength. They used to be the intellectual pillars of society. And now, not so much. That's what progress does. It breaks apart power and equalizes it, distributes it. And that can be a problem for some people. Then we talked about what do you do if you're in a situation where you're doing all the work and you're not getting any credit for it. How do you deal with those kind of people? And the only response is do your job, persevere, and then go where you're wanted. Don't leave where you are angry. Don't burn down the place. Doesn't mean you want to come back or you have to come back. You just don't have to hurt people on your way out. Because there are people who just love to do that. People who love to watch the world burn. You can leave with grace and dignity and then go your own way, find your own path, and blaze it as you see fit. Yes, my lovely Dora. We have talked a bit about work, work ethics, and workplace. It can be very difficult to navigate. Even when you have an experience and there are people underneath you, and there are still other people above you and around you who are super critical. Almost playing the dramaturg role, but in real life. You've met those kind of people. Some call them managers, supervisors, people above you. And that's exactly right, Dora. If they don't appreciate you, someone else will. And that's why you have to find those people who will appreciate you and stand up for you. You know, it's interesting. You have something that goes wrong. A wrong has been done. A wrong has been committed. And you know it's wrong, and you stand up for yourself, and you try to fight the power, and the power has a legal team, and the power has human resources, and the power has other offices. that are not really meant to help you, but to silence you and to put you down. And then you talk to other people around you who are saying, look, I've been wronged. Will you help me? Will you stand up for me? Will you go to bat for me? And too often the answer is, not my problem. That's your problem. But wait a minute. This problem has to do with all of us, not just me. But I'm the one who's standing up and taking the heat for it because I don't think this is right. Well, that's you, that's not me. Well, those kind of people, you just have to not interact with them. You don't have to be cruel, you don't have to cut them out of your life, but you have to realize that they're not going to be invested. And they're going to come to you and ask for favors and ask for help. And as my lovely friend and mentor Howard Stein told all of us at Columbia University, if you do something bad to me, I will not hurt you, but I will not help you. And that was the biggest threat that you could ever say to somebody. I'm not going to hurt you, but I'm not going to help you. But we can always help ourselves by finding a weight and lifting it. It only helps. You do 100 of these a day, you're going to be fit in a month. You're going to be powerful. All your fat's going to be replaced with muscle. You're going to look good. You're going to feel good about yourself. So there's always weight to be moved and toted and expressed somewhere in the world. It's just waiting for you to find it and to put it into action. And the great thing about kettlebells is they are generational. I mean, this kettlebell that I bought probably 20 years ago, but I didn't really get seriously into, I don't want to say collecting them, but I guess I have, till about a year or two ago during the pandemic. This thing will last 300 years. What, 1,000 years? Where's it going to go? If it's not recycled, remanufactured, it's going to be here forever. So it's buy once and then pass it along, resell it. Give it to a friend. Give it to your kids. And during the pandemic where nothing was moving in the world, kettlebells were very hard to find. And so a lot of people with old kettlebells that they've had in their families for many, many years were sold for top dollar for desperate people who wanted to work out but couldn't get their hands on a good kettlebell. So they would drive 300 miles to pick up two 40-pound kettlebells and bring them home. And some of them were rusted and damaged, but they were just fine. They had been used, and now they were going to be loved again. So, unlike this is not going to last 300 years, I promise you. Even this will not last 300 years. This is rubber. I think it's concrete inside. This is already sort of rusting a little bit. But this might last 100 years. The rubber one, though. This isn't going anywhere. This will last 3 days. So permanence matters. Persistence matters. Don't ever give up on yourself or other people. Because there's always a good way forward that doesn't hurt anyone and that benefits you and by default benefits your community and those around you who love and respect you. It's been a wonderful stream today. I thank you so much for joining me. We're back tomorrow. More fun. More interesting stuff to share. Please find me on Facebook, facebook.com/BOLES. Send me a note. Send me a hello. Let me know what you're thinking. I'm also on Twitter, @David Boles. Instagram, @BolesBooks. And I'm on Discord. But I don't really know how to tell you to find me there. Go to bolesblogs.com, look in the sidebar. I'm going to find that right now so I can show you what the heck I'm talking about. Because I don't know what I'm talking about. Oh, that's tomorrow. Here we go. Let's see. There it is. David Boles serves. Discord, General, Members Online, me, and my chess bot. And I think you click on this somehow, and it takes you to my server. So then you can sign in, sign up, sign down. All right. So maybe I'll see you on Discord. We'll say hello and try to figure it out together what the heck's going on. But for now, what's going on is I'll see you soon. And take care and be well and let me know what you're thinking and how you're feeling. I will see you soon.